Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Switch. We're in the third full week of April. We're looking at the releases from the 20th until the 24th. As always, we're taking a look at all the physical retail releases, all the low print games up for order, some juicy imports, and our community spotlight where you show off your pickups. It's a big week, guys. Let's delve in. Who needs Final Fantasy VII when there's another Square Enix remake coming in hot? Well, okay, so Trials of Mana doesn't quite have the same impact as Final Fantasy VII, but that doesn't make it any less interesting. This is a remake of the 1995 Super Nintendo classic that only just got an official English translation last year. It looks to be as close to the original as possible, but wrapped up in a 3D package with a few additions, including elemental weaknesses, air attacks, and additional story dialogue. You pick 3 characters from a choice of 6, each with their own backstory and even differences in where the plot will take you, and that means this one could be good for a couple of playthroughs at least. Anyone excited for this? Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Road to Burrito is a hotly anticipated title from Bandai. Yes, it's still an older port, but fans have been crying for this one on the Switch to round off the series nicely. We had the trilogy before, as you may have seen in our review of that, our biggest video ever, so it's safe to say we are excited about this one. If you're looking for a very competent license tie-in for a very beloved anime and manga, then look no further than this release, 24th of April, for this one. Code Realize Future Blessings is a visual novel from Idea Factory and published by Axis Games. There's not much that I can say about this aside from that I know it's a popular series set in a steampunk-like world. I'm not an expert. Lots of dudes standing around talking doesn't quite do it for me, although it is visually striking. Should be April 23rd for this one. Alright, let's move on to the slightly less lucrative section with games that are codes in a box. Yes, there's actually a lot this week, especially in the UK. MOTO GP20 is releasing this week as a code in a box. If you're looking for some superbike action in your life, then this may be a decent option for you. It's from Milestone, which means it's not going to have quite the budget you'd hope for this day and age, but with niche stuff like this, you have to get your expectations in check. And I'm not going to spend much time on these, but they're worth a quick mention for the truly hardcore collectors out there. Having spoken with the distributor, I can confirm that in the UK at least, on the 24th, we're also getting Real Heroes Firefighter, Head Snatchers, Goosebumps the Game, Degrees of Separation, and Cartoon Network Battle Crashers all as codes in a box. They're on the game collection, that's where I found these, and perhaps you can get them in Argos too. Like I said, I know we're all about physical stuff here, but I know some people will want to add these to their collection if they want to get every little bit. Alright, let's jump into the low print releases. Limited Run announced a very exciting double reveal of some Star Wars games that are on the Switch. Both the Jedi Knight games are getting separate physical releases. Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast are both getting a standard release, plus they're getting collector's editions too, which are very similar to each other in terms of content, just different designs between the two. In each you'll get a steelbook, coin, certificate, pin, booklet, USB stick, art cards, and a poster. Where's the soundtrack? It's Star Wars! Both of these are available for pre-order on April 24th. I bet many people are excited about these, right? I mean, I love Star Wars, but I don't have much nostalgia for these games. I played one of them, but it didn't really click with me, probably because I enjoyed Knights of the Old Republic a lot more at the time. And by the way, can I just say that I had a minor meltdown when I found out that Jedi Academy is the sequel to Jedi Outcast, despite Outcast being called Jedi Knight 2. Yeah, after research, it all makes sense now, but it's still dumb. Call it Jedi Knight 3 Jedi Academy for God's sake. Not too late, Disney. Special Reserve Games and Limited Run are tag teaming the Hotline Miami collection. Special Reserve have a nice collector's edition, as they usually do, boxed very nicely with some art cards and booklet. Apparently 7,500 copies are available. Limited Run, however, have a standard edition with an alternative cover art with 4,000 copies available. Is this the first Switch game which they've not done pre-orders for? Anyways, April 21st for this one. And Hotline Miami Collection is SwitchWatch Legends Dane Wilkinson's pick of the week. This is the one that he recommends to you guys. Alright, let's jump into a couple of imports this week, and just remember that what you see here, including the Community Spotlight section, we do have affiliate links if any of them take your fancy, and you do want to purchase them for yourself and lend SwitchWatch a massive hand at the same time. We have links in the description of the video and in the pinned comment as to where you can find them. Every purchase that you make really helps support us. Plus, when you use our links, we can give you something back too if you use the coupon code SwitchWatchTV. That's all one word, SwitchWatchTV. When you check out, you can get 5% off all physical items. Nice! Okay, what a week, guys. Celeste is leading the charge this week. Yes, this was released physically in the West thanks to limited run games a while back, but for those who missed out, you can now get your hands on the Japanese release thanks to Fly High Works. There is a standard release as well as a minor collector's edition thing that includes 6 postcards and 6 Polaroid pictures. Sorry about that. This is an all-time indie classic, exceptional platforming and a great story combined together. If you missed the limited run release, then this looks to be a fine option. Who's picking this one up? And Celeste is SwitchWatch Legends God of Resin's pick of the week. Next up, we have a visual novel, but not just of your standard kind. Little Busters is from the same company that brought us Clannad, and if that means something to you, then you know that Little Busters should have the quality. We already have a written review for this one up on the website written by one of our reviewers, Marion, who is a fan of visual novels, far more of an authority on the genre than myself. We will try to work that one into a video, but we may not be able to, so I highly recommend you head over to the website to read their review. The link should be in the description below after you've watched this video though. It looks to be a top tier visual novel on the Switch, and the best news is that the Japanese release does have English on the cartridge, and so is very ripe for import if you're into the genre. Links are below. Yumeutsutsu is a visual novel double pack, again a very interesting one. I have a lot of projects on the go at the minute, so either we have a review for this up already, or we will have one up pretty soon. This game, no I'm not saying its name again, is actually 2 games. Remaster, which is the main game, and the other is Reafter. It's kind of like a set of epilogues. They are both sold separately on the eShop for an expensive price, but are together on the cartridge. If you want to know what they're all about, well, they are visual novels set with girl-on-girl action. It's a mature rated release about video game studio run by women who have a tendency to get it on. Now, importers, listen up, because the Japanese physical release, only one of the games has English, so you don't really want to import the Japanese release. However, the Asian Chinese release, which is coming next month physically, does have English, so that is the one that you want to import. The links below in the description are for the Asian English release, okay? Even though that's coming a few weeks later. Little Town Hero is getting its physical release in Japan this week thanks to Rainy Frog. This is a highly divisive game. Some enjoyed it, some absolutely hated it. I kind of did both in my review of it. Anyways, this physical release does have English, so you can import this one if you want to, or you can wait for a few months for NIS America to release their physical in the summertime, which has a few bonus things in it. Super Real Mahjong Love 2-7 is a 6-game collection of old Mahjong games from like the Saturn or PC Engine CDs, Sharp X6 8000. I have no idea which specific ports they are, but they are from around that era. They are basically strip Mahjong. You win at Mahjong, girls get naked. With strategically placed light, of course. Now, there's no English for these, which is a shame because, believe it or not, I actually really like Mahjong. My wife is Chinese and her family taught me how to play it. It's a fun game. Promise of Naked Ladies only helps things. Even though there's no English, there's also a nice collector's edition that you may fancy if you're crazy enough to import. This includes a special case with new artwork, reprinted instruction cards from the arcade games I presume, and a miniature art book. Is it bad that I really want this? Am I a perv or do I just want to play Mahjong? You decide. Bokuhime Project is a visual novel from Nipponichi Software, not their usual style of release. Anyways, there's no English for this one, so not worth an import. Beast Simulator is finally seeing a physical release in Japan. This already has a Western release, thanks to Microid, so there's no need to actually be excited by this one. And the same can be said of Enter the Gungeon, which already has a physical release somewhere in the West. I know it's bad, but I can't actually remember if it's a low print release or not. But anyways, it's releasing physically this week in Japan if you fancy it. And last but not least, Metro Redux is seeing a release in Japan too. Alright, Community Spotlight, where you show off your physicals, plus if you get featured, you'll be in with a chance of winning a $20 eShop gift voucher. Okay, let's delve in. eRockZ wanted to show off this lovely set of steel books in their collection. Usually I'm not a fan of steel books as I prefer a more uniform look to my collection, but when they're laid out like this, now that is beautiful. There is something that I had no idea got steel books, like the Lego DC Supervillains. Roberto Makoto showed off this fine collection of games that I received during isolation, loving the Gigawrecker and Phoenix Wright editions. Codell showed off this eclectic mix of games, the legendary Gigantic Army. God Eater 3, and that badass orbital edition of Daemon X Machina. That is an absolute beast. I love it. Punky Dooster also showed off another gigantic army. I'm kind of amazed there's actually some left to buy. I thought we'd help sell them all. Plus, some nice games in there too. It's quite nostalgic to see those turret cartridges. Chuck's Tailors want to show off a few games, including the Japanese import of Battle Princess Madeline. We did get a Western release of a very altered version of this game thanks to limited run, but if you want the original, this is the only way to get that physically so far. They also showed off Sphinx, which is a bit of a cult classic. It will definitely take you back to another time in a good way. And finally, Bloodstained with a beautiful steel book. God of Resin got so interested in the recent It'll Do release from One Print, they decided to go out and pick up the second game in the series, plus a copy of Blasphemous with its awesome artwork. Charlotte McFall sent in these recent pickups. Interesting to see something obscure like the Biala game up there at the top. Neo Atlas from NIS America, really don't see that too often. Plus a couple of Atelier physicals, including the top tier import, the Dust Trilogy. Troy sent in 2 pictures this week, firstly of Skyrim, an all-time classic, plus something a bit more recent in My Hero 1's Justice 2. Retro Games showed off this collector's edition of Deadly Premonition, which is something that I wanted to get my hands on myself, but over here in China I had to settle for the standard edition, which, even that wasn't easy for me to get. I guess there's just not a big market here for Deadly Premonition. Fluttershout sent in their weekly pickup. Saints Row 4 is a bit of a new one, and nice to see Flipping Death in there. A bit of a hidden gem on the Switch if you're into adventure, with a bit of comedy thrown in. Jonathan was lamenting only being able to pick up one game during this special time, Stranger Things 2 the video game, released by Limited Run. Is this one any good? Let me know. I have no idea. Joel Parker got his hands on a fairly recent game in Saints Row 4. It's just a blast to play, sit back, let your brain switch off while you witness the carnage. So fun. Everyone's favourite 80s action star Kurt Cannongrave wanted to show off some titles that I didn't see too often. The one in the middle, Horizon Chase Turbo, is actually a fantastic game. The other two, well, I have no idea about the quality, but the publishers don't give me too much hope. And finally, to round this week's Community Spotlight section off, we have Andrew Kelly and his double stack of games, showing off some highlights with his special reserves releases, some standout titles, Kero Blaster, and their personal fave, Enter the Gungeon, including an awesome little book about it too. Alright, thanks ladies and gents. If you want to send in your recent additions, or perhaps your favourite Switch game, or games you think are underrated, it doesn't matter how many, old or new, send it to me on Twitter over at SoWhatAboutGame. Please DM me so I can keep track of it, or you can email it into us at contactors@switchwatch.co.uk. Just make sure you start the email title with Community Spotlight so that I don't miss it. Plus, we have a Discord, which is always a nice way to have a chat with you, and you can send your pictures to me over on there. The Discord link is below in the description. Right guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of New Physical. Special thanks to our executive producer, Dane Wilkinson, and God of Resin, and all others who have joined our membership. We really appreciate you guys. So what's taking your fancy this week? Be sure to check out last week's episode in case you missed it, plus a couple of reviews that you may have missed too. We got a lot of content for you guys, so don't forget to click that subscribe button if you already haven't. We'll see you guys next time, and remember, let's get physical.